looking for a place to get away from it all? Commune with nature? Bury something you don't want found?
Well, then you've come to the right place, because I am the ghost tourist, and these are the New Jersey Pine Barrens.
This is part 2 of my exploration of the Pine Barrens. In part 1, we pursued the Jersey Devil from its legendary colonial birth to modern-day encounters deep in the woods, and learned that
the entire myth of the New Jersey Devil may have been started by our founding father, Ben Franklin. That is wild.
In this episode, we'll dive into the ghost stories. The Pine Barrens are littered with forgotten places. And deep in the forest, no one can hear you scream.
Where in the world are you hiding, my dear, my dear? I caught a glimpse of something very weird. A ghost I fear is near me, dear. A ghost has slipped into my world, my world.
The New Jersey Pine Barrens is an ancient forest comprising over 1 million acres of pygmy pines, pin oaks, white cedar, and thorny greenbrier.
Ribbons of tidal water connect to rivers and streams. Paths of sugar sand covered in fallen pine needles lead to wetlands, cranberry bogs, and ghost towns. The region has 4 state forests, and because it's so sparsely populated, it has a reputation as a backwater inhabited by rural, unfriendly folk, ungraciously dubbed Pineys. Spoiler alert, I was born and raised here in southern New Jersey.
So most of the people think of the New Jersey Pinelands as being not just a wilderness, but on the fringe of reality, a kind of place where madmen and crazy people are.
But there's beauty to be found here. Rare plants and orchids, species of frogs and salamanders that only exist here in this one location on the entire planet. But I admit, once the sun sets, both the superstitious and the wise avoid the pines at night, because nightmares lurk in the dark. The Pine Barrens were initially inhabited by the indigenous people of the Lenni Lenape tribe. Fun fact, the Lenni Lenape's name for the Pine Barrens, I will not try to pronounce it, translates to the place of the dragon. They spoke of a spirit called Missing, a mysterious force of nature with wings and horns and a long tail. Some believe this indigenous myth may be the earliest account of the creature that became the Jersey Devil. We're going to get to the ghost stories soon, I promise. There's even one including buried treasure. But first, let's get a little bit more historical context about the Pine Barrens. So first there were the Lenape, but by the 1600s, Dutch and Swedish colonizers moved to the area, using its wealth of cedar and oak for shipbuilding. Then came the English.
The early settlers were primarily shipbuilders and whalers, so there were mills, brickyards, iron furnaces open all around the area. The southern New Jersey iron furnaces were instrumental in producing munitions during the American Revolution. But by the 1840s, the iron industry moved westward to Pennsylvania, and several towns fell into decay, and the forest began to reclaim them. Hey, are you liking the video? Remember to hit subscribe.
You can also find me on Patreon, and I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my supporters.
I hope you enjoyed this sweet Ghost Tourist mugs, and if you'd like one, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Now, back to the video.
This is Batsto Village, New Jersey's best preserved ghost town. Located in Wharton State Forest, the village began in 1766 with the construction of the Batsto Ironworks along the river.
In its heyday, there was a population of nearly 1,000 people. It was one of the most successful early manufacturing villages, and one of the few that remain.
There's something written on the wall.
It's pretty creepy. Batsto survived for hundreds of years, first producing iron, then glass, but it was abandoned by the 1950s and turned over to the state. The last resident vacated the premises in 1989. Today, Batsto is on the National Register of Historic Places, and there are more than 40 sites and structures in the village that are open for visitors. Oh, this is like the general store.
Yeah. I'd like to buy some provisions, please.
But what's a ghost town without a few spirits and residents?
Visitors and paranormal investigators report a range of eerie experiences, including full-bodied apparitions that vanish into thin air or walk through walls, hearing disembodied voices or footsteps, feeling sudden changes in temperature, and, of course, the occasional sighting of a ghost child or two roaming the grounds at night. No thank you. Paranormal activity has been specifically noted at the Stone Barn, Grist Mill, and the Batsto Mansion. Well, I mean, just look at it. It kind of screams haunted house. There have been reports of a female spirit standing in the tower, though no one's sure who she is. The likeliest guess is a member of the Richards family, who were the builders of the original mansion and had possession of the property and business for 92 years. William Richards, the patriarch, was married twice and had 19 children who all lived within the home. There was also a catastrophic fire in February of 1874, which decimated 18 buildings, including workers' homes, the glassworks, and portions of the mansion. Though no one was killed, it did spell the end of the village. The estate was purchased in 1876 by Joseph Wharton, an industrialist, philanthropist, and conservationist. He rebuilt the mansion, but as a very wealthy man, owned a bunch of other properties, so his wife and 3 daughters did occasionally spend time at Batsto, but I'd place better odds that the spirit in the tower belongs to the Richards family, whose fortune went boom and bust, just the same as the town. Today, Batsto is pretty much in the middle of nowhere, but a 30-minute drive back to civilization and cell signal will get you to Lucille's Luncheonette. This little roadside cafe is known for its home-cooked meals and a devil of a good time.
I'm so hungry. Looks like childhood. Does it taste like the Jersey Devil?
This road is quintessential Pine Barrens. There's really no shortage of these creepy roads with nothing but pine trees for miles. But then a turnoff appears, leading deeper into the forest toward any number of abandoned and forgotten structures.
When I was a kid, we all used to whisper about Indian Cabin Road. I remember being told there was an abandoned building with a desecrated church that some satanic cult had taken over in the 1980s during the Satanic Panic. So of course, as soon as I got my license, me and a couple of friends decided we were going to go back there one night.
So I found out in later years that the buildings were actually all a part of some 1920s or 1930s Boy Scout camp or boys' orphanage. But at the time, I had no idea, and we arrived in the pitch black dark to just this creepy, derelict ruin.
And the place was covered in satanic graffiti, like pentagrams and 666s.
And there was a statue of the Virgin Mary with like blood red eyes, and it was either paint or not paint.
It was truly disturbing. We went partially inside one building, but the roof was caving in, so it was really just not safe to be inside. But from what we could see, it was an old chapel building that was also covered in all of this really terrifying graffiti. Like there's a big pentagram painted on the floor. So we got out of there pretty quickly and walked around the back of the building. There was a big overgrown field and a long bunkhouse. It stretched so far back that our flashlights couldn't illuminate the back end of the building. And suddenly, from the farthest door, something emerged, like a dark figure shot out of the last door, went running into the woods, and we all just lost it and ran back to the car. I mean, we were in the middle of nowhere, and something was there with us.
I remember being more afraid it was some kind of like drugged out Satan worshiper rather than a ghost, but whatever it was, we were deep in the middle of nowhere all alone, and it scared the hell out of us. So unfortunately, or maybe in this case fortunately, the building burned down a couple years after I had visited, and the site's been bulldozed, so we can't visit it today. But here I am as an adult following along another very creepy overgrown road. This one takes me to the historical Cedar Bridge Tavern. Undeniably way less terrifying. The Cedar Bridge Tavern dates back to 1816. However, the history of the site reaches much further back. This area was also once an entire village, though now only this one structure remains. The site comprises 291 acres, full of public hiking trails, and admission is free. It's possible that the last skirmish of the American Revolution occurred here on December 27th, 1782, when a patriot militia happened upon a gang of loyalists known as the Pine Robbers, led by Bloody John Bacon. Bacon was known for his ruthless pillaging and violence. He had recently killed 30 sailors in their sleep. Bloody Bacon escaped the skirmish that day, but was caught and executed a few months later. He was so hated among the populace that his corpse was paraded through town and around the countryside before its burial in an unmarked grave. It's said that his vengeful spirit wanders the woods to this very day. And speaking of the Revolutionary War, one of my favorite ghost stories concerns another infamous pine robber.
In life, his name was Joe Mulliner. They say he was a Robin Hood type, only targeting the wealthy and never injuring or killing anyone. And he also apparently loved to dance. His nickname was the Dancing Bandit.
He lived in Sweetwater during the Revolutionary War, and like Bloody Bacon, Joe was a loyalist outlaw, essentially a land pirate who worked for the British. He was forced to flee his home in 1779 to avoid arrest, and as the story goes, he then went on a crime spree, robbing stagecoaches and burning and pillaging farms throughout southern New Jersey, again, never killing or injuring anyone. They say Mulliner was tall, handsome, adventurous, and swaggering in his green Tory uniform. His hideout was in the swamps near Little Egg Harbor, and he led a pack of rowdies estimated between 20 and 40 men. With so many away fighting the revolution, Mulliner and his ruffians robbed and plundered villages with very little resistance. He was a notorious party crasher. Legend has it that his gang once stormed into a wedding and discovered a weeping bride who claimed she did not want to marry her groom.
So Mulliner grabbed his musket, chased off the groom, told the band to strike up a tune, drank all the booze, danced with the bride not-to-be, and then he and his men disappeared into the pines.
He did that kind of thing a lot. So it's no surprise he was eventually captured in Nesco after a night of drinking, dancing, and debauchery. Joe Mulliner was convicted of high treason on August 8th, 1781, and hanged the same day at Gallows Hill. Apparently, despite all the dancing he did with strangers, he had a wife, and his body was delivered back to her in Sweetwater, New Jersey. Mulliner was supposedly buried along a high bank overlooking the Mullica River. But in 1850, several drunken dudes dug up his corpse and displayed it in Batsto Village until the town's ironmaster ordered they rebury the remains.
It's unclear whether they reburied the body after this or simply tossed it into the Mullica. But an old story claims that on cloudless nights, a dark, hooded figure emerges from the river, carrying its ashen-faced head in its arms. Not sure why he's headless in this story since they hung him, but...
More popular accounts claim that a ghostly man in a green uniform has often appeared to patrons in crowded local taverns or wedding parties along the river. Maybe the party never stopped for the dancing bandit.
And the final account of Joe Mulliner's ghost involves buried treasure.
Rumor has it he confided in a friend before his death that he had buried a considerable sum of gold and silver near the road leading from Green Bank to Lower Bank. To this day, his treasure has never been found.
Is it on the surface, whatever it is? Find it, find the treasure. Find the treasure, find it.
Get it.
Find that treasure.
Get it. What's down there?
Where's the gold? I see rust.
That's like a old.
Really old can or something. Yeah. Well, it's metal. It counts. So I think for gold or silver, you really want it to hit 40, like 30 or 40. Is that gunfire? Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
In an excerpt from a 1928 booklet, the author writes, "The people of these parts a few generations back were firm believers in ghosts, and many asserted that Mulliner's spirit walked. Some of the most credulous claimed to have seen him in dim and shadowy form walking beside the river near Buttonwoods and looking from side to side, as if in search of something."
But be warned if you go looking for Joe Mulliner's lost treasure, because you can never be quite sure of what you might unbury in the Pine Barrens.
Yes, that was a mob joke. It's well known that the dense and foreboding expanse of the Pinelands has long been a favored burial ground for the mafia. For more on buried treasure, find me on Patreon for a bonus segment on Captain Kidd and all the possible New Jersey locations of his lost gold.
So thanks for reliving my childhood with me. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe to help the channel grow. I'm the Ghost Tourist, and you stay spooky.
A ghost I feel.